Now I'm 65 years old. I think I'm 67. I'm retired. I lost maybe about 500,000. I'm in my life now like homeless now.
Imagine spending 50 years of your life working, saving, sacrificing, building a number in a bank account that was supposed to mean you could finally stop. No more alarm clocks, no more hustle. Just the retirement you earned through 5 decades of relentless effort. Now imagine watching that number disappear in 5 months. Not because of a bad investment, not because of a medical crisis, but because of a phone call. A single phone call that looked legitimate, sounded official, and was designed by criminals who knew exactly how to make a hardworking 65-year-old man hand over everything he had. That man is Heap Nguyen. He immigrated to the United States over 50 years ago, built a life from scratch, and had nearly reached the finish line of a well-earned retirement. Then the scammers found him. And by the time he realized what had happened, roughly $500,000 was gone. And the retirement he had planned for may never come. This is how it happened, why it worked, and why it is happening to millions of people right now across the country. Nguyen was not the kind of man who fell for scams easily. Like most people, he received suspicious calls regularly and had learned to ignore them. Unknown numbers, robotic voices, obvious traps. He was careful. He was experienced. He had spent 50 years navigating life in a new country which required a sharp awareness of the world around him. But the call that destroyed his financial future didn't arrive from an unknown number. When Nguyen glanced at his phone, the caller ID showed the Vietnamese embassy. And that one detail, a spoofed, fabricated, completely fake caller ID, was enough to make him answer. The caller immediately told him something alarming. Someone was using his name to commit serious financial crimes, including money laundering. His identity, his reputation, his legal standing were all at risk. And crucially, 2 weeks earlier, Nguyen had received what appeared to be a genuine IRS letter warning him that his identity may have already been compromised. He was already on edge. He was already primed to believe something was wrong. That letter, whether real or forged, was the psychological setup. The phone call was the trigger. And together, they created the perfect conditions for everything that followed. What happened next was not a quick smash-and-grab operation. It was a sustained, methodical, technologically sophisticated campaign designed to keep Nguyen inside a manufactured reality for as long as it took to drain everything he had. The scammers communicated with him through Viber, an encrypted messaging app, a deliberate choice that projected professionalism while minimizing traceable evidence. Through that platform, they sent him forged government documents, case files, official correspondence, paperwork that would have looked convincing to almost anyone without specialist knowledge. But the detail that makes this story genuinely alarming in 2024 is what came next. They sent him videos, AI-generated videos depicting official government protocols and procedures. Synthetic media, produced using tools now accessible to anyone with enough criminal intent, was being deployed specifically to deceive a 65-year-old man who had done nothing except answer his phone. Every time doubt surfaced, there was another document to suppress it. Every time his confidence wavered, there was another video reinforcing the official narrative. The operation was designed to sustain itself across months, and it did exactly that. Running like a machine, feeding him just enough manufactured credibility to keep him moving forward, one transfer at a time. Wire transfers are the instrument of choice for operations like this, and there is a precise reason for that. Unlike credit card transactions that can sometimes be disputed and reversed, a cleared wire transfer is, in almost every practical sense, gone. Scammers know this. Most victims don't, not until it's too late. And so, Nguyen, believing he was engaged in a legitimate legal process to clear his name from fraudulent activity, began transferring money. Not in one catastrophic moment, but in increments, over months, each transfer accompanied by official-sounding instructions and reassurances that the process was working. That slow accumulation is one of the cruelest mechanics of this kind of fraud. It doesn't take everything at once in a way that might trigger alarm. It takes it gradually, while the victim believes they are doing the responsible thing, the cooperative thing, the thing that will eventually make everything right. By the time the last transfer cleared, approximately $500,000 had left Nguyen's accounts, nearly his entire life savings. The financial foundation of a retirement he had spent 50 years building had been systematically dismantled, piece by people he had never met and would never be able to find. For 5 months, Nguyen carried this alone. He told no one, not his daughter, not close friends, nobody. He absorbed the growing weight of what had happened in complete silence. And when the last transfer was gone and the officials who had been so consistently present suddenly went quiet, he sat with the truth by himself for a period of time that is difficult to comprehend. The reason he stayed silent was shame. Not confusion, not denial, shame. These operations are engineered to generate exactly that response, because shame functions as a gag order. When a victim feels complicit in what happened to them, when they signed off on transfers, when they cooperated willingly with a process they believed was legitimate, that sense of personal responsibility becomes a wall between them and any possibility of help. His daughter, Kathy Nguyen, found out eventually, not because he told her directly, but because he had nothing left and had run out of options. "I was in shock," she said. "I did not know that this was going on for the past 5 months. He didn't have anything left and he needed to reach out for help, but he was ashamed. He was ashamed of something that was done to him." That sentence alone captures the full devastating reach of what these operations inflict beyond the financial loss. What happened to Hiep Nguyen is heartbreaking. It is also one data point in a crisis that is enormous, accelerating, and consistently underreported relative to its actual scale. According to the FBI, elderly Americans lost more than $3 billion to scams in a single year. And in 2023, that figure reached $3.4 billion, representing an 11% increase from the year before. That number is not leveling off. It is not being contained by existing awareness campaigns or law enforcement efforts. It is growing year over year, compounding like interest in reverse. Government impersonation scams alone, the exact category that targeted Nguyen, accounted for $180 million in losses in 2023. $180 million extracted from people who believed they were speaking to representatives of institutions they had spent their entire lives trusting. The IRS, federal agencies, embassies, law enforcement bodies. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center processes thousands of reports from elderly victims every year, and the pattern is consistent. This demographic suffers disproportionately both in frequency of victimization and in total dollar amounts lost per case. The infrastructure behind these numbers is organized, international, and operating at a scale that should be treated as a national emergency. Government impersonation is devastating, but it represents only one weapon in a much broader arsenal that organized criminal networks deploy against older Americans every single day. Romance scams target isolated or recently widowed individuals with manufactured emotional relationships developed over weeks or months, building genuine psychological attachment before any financial request is made. And by that point, the victim is often so emotionally invested that they defend the scammer against concerned family members. Lottery and sweepstakes scams promise life-changing windfalls that require only a small processing fee to unlock. Then another fee, then another, milking the victim's hope until the well runs dry. Tech support scams involve callers posing as representatives of Microsoft, Apple, or antivirus companies, warning that your device has been compromised and walking you into handing over both computer access and financial account credentials. Then there are grandparent scams, arguably the most emotionally ruthless category, where a caller poses as a grandchild in crisis, arrested or hospitalized or stranded abroad, begging for emergency funds and pleading that you not tell the rest of the family. Fear and love collide and people act fast, which is exactly what the operation needs. Every one of these categories is run by professionals. Every script has been refined across hundreds of previous calls. Every objection has a rehearsed counter. These are not amateurs. They are organized, experienced, and getting more technically capable every year. The single most powerful habit anyone can build against these operations is simple. Hang up and call back. If any contact arrives, by phone, by text, by email, claiming to represent a government agency, a financial institution, or any body with authority over your money or your identity, do not engage with that contact as presented. Find the official number independently through a source you already trust, and make the call yourself. That one habit alone would neutralize the majority of these operations at the very first point of contact. Beyond that, treat urgency as a warning sign rather than a call to action. Every legitimate institution will give you time to verify, to ask questions, to consult someone you trust. Any communication that demands immediate action, that threatens arrest or legal consequences if you don't move right now, that pressures you to skip verification, is operating outside the boundaries of how real institutions function. Scammers need speed because speed kills the skepticism that would otherwise save you. For families, normalize the conversation about these operations openly, using real cases like in Gwen's, so that the patterns become familiar before they're encountered in real life. And if victimization has already occurred, report it to the FBI's IC3 at ic3.gov. Because even when money cannot be recovered, every report strengthens the data that protects the next potential target. Nguyen said he can't sleep anymore. 4 words that contain everything the statistics miss. And the reason this conversation cannot stop here.